Check, check. All right, so this is a demonstration of a bug in GrandMA3. I'm going to start with a GrandMA3 clean start on version 2.2.5.2, which is what I have been using recently. I'd like to update to the new software to try out some of the new features, but there is a pretty big holdup in a feature that I use, and it makes it so you can't store the phaser speed value inside of a preset. So you can create a phaser, anything, any parameters, whether it's pan, tilt, dim, color, whatever it is, and you can assign a speed. But if you store that phaser as a preset, it will not work. So I'm going to demonstrate first how it works here in the older software. I'll just make it as simple as we can. Simple dimmer preset. Come in here, patch a generic dimmer, one channel. And so if we select our fixture, make the first step 0, the second step 100, we can see here that we would have a dimmer effect running. If we come into the phaser speed parameter, we can set that to 0. Stop. We'll record this, store this rather, as 0 BPM. Great. Now we can see if we recall this preset, it recalls a speed of 0 BPM, as it should. We'll just make one more example here. We store this. We'll call this one 60 BPM. Oh, 60 BPM. And I will change the speed to 60 BPM. Store that here. Overwrite. Oops, I apologize. I did that incorrectly. Let's fix that. Alright, so now we have two presets here. We have one at 0 speed, one at 60 speed, just as we would expect. So if we select the 60, we can see it's it's phasing, it's going up and down. And if it's 0 BPM, it's just stopped. Alright, so that is how the function should work. And it works perfectly fine in the 2.2.5.2 software version. But if we try to do the same thing in a clean start of GrandMA 2.3.0.4, you can see that the speed value will not be retained when you recall the preset. So we'll just do the exact same demonstration that we just did. All right. Fixture sheet. Dimmer presets. Come here and do the same thing. We'll patch our generic dimmer, one channel, select our fixture, input our first step, which is 0%, second step, which is 100%, and then in the phaser speed, we'll set it to 0 BPM to be stop. We'll store this. Store this as 0 BPM. We can see here it is in fact stopped. It's not phasing through steps in 1 and 2. But if we clear out our programmer and then recall this preset, the speed, the phaser speed, is back at 60. But it's not set to 60, it's just set at the default phaser speed. It's phasing, even though we stored it at 0. So we'll try and update that really quick. We can take this, put it back to 0 BPM. We can see here that it's stopped phasing. We'll try to store this, merge it. Maybe merge will work. I'll clear out my programmer, recall that preset, check my dimmer speed. It's not stopped. It should be stopped. It's phasing. So if I store another one, we'll call this one 60 BPM. And then we'll recall this one. You see it's phasing, doing our dimmer phase. Come into the phaser and speed settings. We can see it's at the default, which would be 60. Let's say we set it to 60 BPM to make sure it stores at 60 and doesn't change. Store. We'll try overwrite. But still, when you recall that preset, I'll clear out my programmer, recall the preset, and then as soon as you check the speed in the phaser settings, you can see it's not changing the way it should. It's at 60, which is the default, but it's not recalling the stored value of 60. Neither is the 0 BPM recalling the stored value of 0 BPM, which worked perfectly fine when you were storing default speeds on presets in the 2.2.5.2 version, but clearly now in the newer version you cannot store speeds. I've been experiencing this with phasers for color, position, beam, any sort of phaser where you want to store a speed value in it, you are unable to recall it with the same value that you stored it with. So yeah, this is preventing me from moving forward and doing more programming in 2.3.0.4. So thank you for walking through the demonstration with me.